In the quiet land of the Shire, where rolling green hills stretched beneath open skies and life moved at an unhurried pace, few understood how close their world stood to ancient danger. Long ago, in a forgotten age, the Dark Lord Sauron forged a single ring in the fires of Mount Doom, pouring into it his will to dominate all other rings and enslave Middle-earth. Though Sauron was defeated in a great war, the ring was not destroyed. Instead, it was cut from his hand and lost to history, passing through shadows and centuries, waiting for the moment when it could return to its master. The ring eventually came into the possession of a creature named Gollum, who was twisted by its power and lived in darkness beneath the mountains for hundreds of years. When the ring slipped from Gollum's grasp, fate carried it to Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit of the Shire, who found it during an unexpected adventure. Bilbo used the ring lightly, never knowing its true nature, and returned home to live a comfortable life, keeping the ring as a curious trinket that granted invisibility. Over time, however, the ring began to stretch his life unnaturally, planting restlessness in his heart. On his 111th birthday, Bilbo decided to leave the Shire and passed the ring to his young cousin Frodo Baggins. Gandalf the Grey, a wandering wizard and old friend of Bilbo, sensed something deeply wrong about the ring. After Bilbo departed, Gandalf urged Frodo to keep the ring hidden and safe. Years passed as Gandalf searched for answers, traveling far and wide, until he confirmed the terrible truth: Bilbo's ring was the one ring of Sauron himself. Gandalf returned with urgency, warning Frodo that the ring must be destroyed. Sauron had risen again in the dark land of Mordor, and his servants were searching for the ring. Black riders, terrifying wraiths once kings of men, were sent to hunt it down. Frodo realized that staying in the Shire would bring ruin to everyone he loved. With a heavy heart, Frodo and Sam moved eastward, leaving the river behind as the land grew harsher and more unfamiliar with every step. The comforting presence of the Fellowship was gone, replaced by silence, uncertainty, and the constant pull of the ring. Frodo felt its weight not only on the chain around his neck but in his thoughts, whispering doubts and fears. Sam stayed close, watching Frodo with quiet concern, determined that no matter what lay ahead, he would not let his friend face it alone. Behind them, the Fellowship had been shattered. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli discovered Boromir dying, struck down by orc arrows while defending Merry and Pippin from capture. With his last breath, Boromir confessed his failure and begged forgiveness. Aragorn granted it, recognizing that Boromir had fallen to a temptation no man could easily resist. The three companions then faced a terrible choice: pursue Frodo or rescue Merry and Pippin. Trusting Frodo to continue his task, Aragorn chose to chase the orcs, hoping to save the captured hobbits. Merry and Pippin endured a brutal march as prisoners, dragged across the plains by orcs who fought among themselves. Despite fear and exhaustion, the two hobbits showed remarkable courage, dropping clues to mark their path and refusing to give in to despair. Their suffering ended when riders of Rohan attacked the orcs at dawn, destroying them completely. Believed dead by the riders, Merry and Pippin escaped into the nearby forest of Fangorn. Fangorn was ancient and alive in ways few could understand. There, the hobbits met Treebeard, an Ent, a shepherd of the trees who spoke slowly but with deep wisdom. As Merry and Pippin told him of the destruction spreading across Middle-earth, Treebeard grew troubled. The forest itself was under threat, as Saruman's industry consumed wood and fire without mercy. The Ents gathered for an Ent moot, and though they were slow to anger, their wrath, once awakened, was unstoppable. Meanwhile, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, Frodo, Sam, and Gollum continued their journey toward Mordor, climbing into the harsh and lifeless mountains that bordered the Dark Lord's realm. The air grew thin and bitter, and every step drained what little strength they had left. Gollum led them through twisting paths and narrow passes, whispering promises of safety while hiding darker intentions in his fractured mind. Frodo sensed the danger but felt bound by pity, believing that mercy might still save Gollum from himself. They soon encountered Faramir, captain of Gondor, and his men, who captured the travelers and brought them to a hidden refuge behind a great waterfall. Faramir questioned Frodo closely and learned of the ring's true nature. Unlike his brother Boromir, Faramir resisted its temptation, understanding that such power would only bring ruin. He released Frodo and Sam, warning them of the growing strength of Mordor and urging them to destroy the ring for the sake of all. As they departed, Gollum's hatred of Sam deepened, while his bond with Frodo became twisted and possessive. Leading them upward, Gollum took them toward a place of terror, Shelob's lair, though he disguised his plan behind false guidance. The mountain path narrowed into a dark tunnel, thick with webs and crawling shadows. Inside, Shelob, an ancient and monstrous spider, attacked with terrifying speed. Frodo was stung and fell motionless, and Sam, believing his master dead, fought the creature with desperate fury, driving it away. Orcs soon arrived and carried Frodo's body off, unaware that he still lived. Broken with grief yet refusing to abandon hope, Sam took the ring and followed them into Mordor. He rescued Frodo from captivity in a tower, returning the ring to him, and together they continued their journey, stripped of strength but bound by loyalty stronger than fear. While they struggled in the shadows, the world of men moved toward open war. Aragorn took a perilous path through the haunted paths of the dead, summoning the Sea. Frodo and Sam climbed the final path toward the heart of Mount Doom, each step a battle against exhaustion and despair. The ground burned beneath their feet, and the air itself seemed alive with malice. The ring weighed heavier than ever, pressing against Frodo's mind, filling him with visions of power and the promise of relief if he would only stop resisting. Sam stayed close, supporting Frodo when his legs failed and urging him onward with quiet words of faith, even as hope seemed almost gone. Inside the cracks of Doom, where the ring had been forged, Frodo reached the end of his strength. Standing above the fire, he felt the full force of the ring claim him. In that final moment, he could no longer let it go. Declaring the ring his own, he placed it on his finger and vanished. The long struggle had brought him to the edge of victory, yet the ring proved stronger than his will. Gollum revealed himself at last, driven mad by desire. He attacked Frodo, biting off his finger and reclaiming the ring with wild joy. Dancing in triumph near the edge, he lost his footing and fell into the fire, taking the ring with him. In that instant, the ring was destroyed, and its power ended forever. The foundations of Mordor cracked, Mount Doom erupted, and Sauron's dark tower collapsed as his spirit was scattered, unable to take form again. Sam pulled Frodo from the edge as the mountain shook violently. Surrounded by fire and falling stone, they accepted what seemed to be their final moments together, content in the knowledge that they had succeeded. But they were not forgotten. Gandalf arrived with the eagles, rescuing them from the destruction and carrying them to safety. With Sauron defeated, the war ended swiftly. The armies of Mordor fled or were destroyed, and peace began to return to Middle-earth. Aragorn was crowned King of Gondor, uniting the realms of men and restoring hope after long years of shadow. The Fellowship was reunited, though each member bore scars that would end.